He was my first and only one. It's almost time. Phase 1 of my life is almost over. Phase 2 is about to begin. My feelings are mixed and intense. I just have to hold on a little longer and then it will be too late to back out. The first phase of my life consisted of 2 parts, pre-Ray life and post-Ray life. In the pre-Ray life, I was absolutely miserable. I was ugly. Unruly mouse-brown hair, acne-mutilated face, glasses, double chin, small breasts, fat folds on my belly, and a big ass. I survived by self-destruction. When someone made fun of my appearance, I agreed with them and laughed with them. And then I cried inside. I had a few acquaintances and no friends. Dating? Ha! Then, Ray showed up. It was a normal day in the school cafeteria. Some of the girls I knew were teasing me about how I would never get a date because of the way I looked, and I laughed along with them. Ray was a student that everyone respected. He was athletic, smart, and good-looking. We knew each other, but we weren't close. Stop it. There's no reason to treat her like that unless you're being mean and cruel on purpose. I will personally beat up every guy you fools try to date if you don't stop your harassment. I was completely shocked. No one had ever defended me before. The girls looked ashamed and went to sit somewhere else. Ray sat down across from me. I had no idea what to say. My happy feelings about what had happened quickly evaporated. Jessica, you're just as bad as they are. How can anyone respect you if you don't respect yourself? You're a good person, and I think you look just fine just the way you are. I started crying loudly. They teased you because you've never had a date. Let's forget about that insult. Jessica, would you go out to dinner and a movie with me this Friday? I'm not sure what I said in response as my mind was in a fog from what he said. Obviously, I said yes because we went out that Friday and many times after that. When I was with him, I always felt beautiful, valued, and respected. We talked about many things, but my feelings about myself were a common theme. Sometimes I had a date with someone else, but I was only excited when Ray asked me out. By the time we graduated, 2 things were settled. I had a dash of self-esteem, and I was in love with Ray. We went to college together and soon began living in the same apartment. He was my first and only. I savored the love we made each time. There was no marriage proposal moment. We both just knew we were going to get married. A couple months after graduation, we both had jobs. We picked out a house that could accommodate us and a couple kids. A few years later, our son came along. He was somewhat planned and somewhat of a surprise. We were ready to have children and just didn't take any precautions to keep me from getting pregnant. My pregnancy was horrible. I gained almost 23 pounds. My acne-covered face looked like I had moon craters. For the last 3 months of my pregnancy, my son seemed to know how to target every nerve in my pelvic area just as I was falling asleep. I thought I was miserable, but found that things could get worse. I had toxemia, and almost died before Ray took me to the hospital. Thankfully, the baby and I both survived. I begged Ray to let me have my fallopian tubes tied. I didn't want to go through that again. He agreed. Nathan, our son, was Ray's clone. They bonded at first, which was good because I was in pain and had little maternal feelings. Ray was and still is a great father. When they are together, I feel more like a maid than a wife or mother. I wasn't that unhappy. It was just the way things were. What drove me into depression was the way I saw myself in the mirror. I looked even worse than I had when I was a teenager. Ray never complained and never stopped telling me that he still thought I looked beautiful. No diet or exercise helped for long. 2 incidents gave me motivation to change. One of Nathan's friends, who was about 4 years old, pointed me out to his parents. "She's fat." I laughed, but it hurt. It hurt a lot. Second, my parents died in a car accident. While this worsened my depression, it gave me a large sum of money that I could use as I wanted. It seemed that at the time, every commercial on television was about facelifts, acne treatments, double chin reduction, belly fat removal, etc. I went to Ray and told him that I wanted to use my inheritance to pay for various procedures to improve my appearance. I cried when I asked. Ray said it was my money and I could use it however I wanted. He said he was fine with the way I looked now, but if it made me happy, he was fine with it. That's when I started to change. It took 2 years of surgery, including breast implants, liposuction, and a tummy tuck. I also attended fat camps that helped me achieve what I wanted. During this time, I had to be away from home a lot. Ray and Nathan seemed to be doing just fine without me. Nathan even made a joke when my face was covered with bandages. Look, my mom is a mummy. Along the way, I got makeup and clothing tips. A new blonde hair color and style were added, as well as manicures and pedicures. Blue-tinted contact lenses replaced my glasses. I realized I had achieved my goal when I was modeling in a clothing store and the saleswoman said, "Honey, you look so good you could cure any man." My attitude changed, too. I started making friends with other gorgeous women, sort of like a MILF club. Now, instead of talking about childcare and housework, I was talking about affairs. Affairs for these women were not something to feel guilty about, they were earned. The idea of an affair became an exciting fantasy for me, the danger of sneaking up unnoticed and possibly being caught, the chance to make love to another man. Ray was the only man I'd ever had love with. I blamed the unfairness of life for missing the chance to be with other men. I had overcome the injustice of life, so now it was time for me to be compensated for those miserable years of my ugly duckling life. I was in debt. My affair began when I was supposed to meet my friend Mary Jo at a new Mediterranean restaurant downtown. She had highly recommended it to me. I got there early, which was good because the place filled up quickly. I sat at a round table outside with an umbrella over my head. After waiting for a while, I got a text message from Mary Jo. She had something come up at work and couldn't join me. I was just deciding whether or not to stay when he walked up. His name was Gregor. He was a Greek god. I was immediately eager. I think he asked if he could join me for lunch since there were no seats available. He sat down, though I don't think I said anything. My affair had begun. He was everything the new Jessica wanted. Handsome, dark-haired, dark-faced, rich and kind of a bad boy. Almost everything Ray wasn't. It didn't take long for us to end up in bed together. It was wonderful. I hadn't had multiple pleasures before. I didn't hesitate to try anything he wanted to do, things I had denied Ray as too dirty. After a few months, I decided I wanted Gregor all the time. He agreed. We made plans for me to go to Greece with him and leave my old life behind. He offered new Jessica exactly what she wanted, a new life. Although I was still in love with Ray, I was in love with Gregor. I was grateful for what Ray had done for me, but he wasn't my soulmate. Nathan was a good kid, but he was and always will be a daddy's boy. During my surgeries, they proved they could do without me. I had suffered a lot in my old life. Starting over in a foreign country with the love of my life became my main goal. Gregor asked me to start transferring my money to a bank account in Greece. He tried to help me set it up, but transferring funds was such a daunting task that I just gave him access to my accounts to do it for me. We were waiting for the perfect moment when I would just walk away. Ray could have filed for divorce because he was abandoned. There would be no divorce papers from me to warn him. Our chance came when Ray had a week-long seminar scheduled in San Francisco. Gregor and I had a short honeymoon planned in the Bahamas before heading to Greece. It was hard to keep my cool, knowing what was within my reach. Any misgivings about what I was doing were drowned out by thoughts of my time in bed with Gregor and our future together. I was finally going to get what I was due from life. Ray entered the house at 6 p.m., more than half an hour later than usual. His tie was off, and he looked terrible. Which was uncharacteristic of him, he threw his jacket on the couch and headed for the refrigerator. He pulled a glass from the cabinet next to the refrigerator and half-filled it with ice from the ice maker. He then walked over to the liquor bar and grabbed a Knob Creek bourbon. Once the bourbon was splashed copiously into the glass, he took the ginger ale and finished it to the brim. He immediately took a big gulp and said, "Ah." He walked over to his deep chair and reclined in it, trying not to spill his drink. His wife Jessica came out of the laundry room and walked down the hallway to the living room. "You're late. I'll have to heat up dinner since you didn't bother to warn me you'd be late." Her husband's only response was the look in his dead eyes. She decided to be polite. Now was not the time to make a fuss. "You look exhausted. Bad day at the office, huh? Good thing you have a big trip to San Francisco tomorrow. You can get your mind off all this office craziness. By the way, did you pack everything yet?" She had a hard time feigning sadness that he would be gone for a week, when in fact she was excited about her planned escape with her lover to the Bahamas. Jessica was about to mention how much she would miss him when he intervened. "There's no need to pack." "What do you mean?" "I'm not." "What?" Jessica was afraid her plans with Gregor might fall through. "Why aren't you going?" "I got fired today." "What? What the hell happened? What got you fired?" "I lost my security clearance." "Oh my God. Ray, talk to me. What happened that you lost your security clearance?" "You did." "Me? You're not making any sense. How could I have caused you to lose your security clearance?" "Don't you remember when I first started at Teledyne, we both had to get security clearances because my dealings with government agencies would be strictly classified? Well, your clearance was revoked, which led me to be suspicious enough to revoke mine. No top-secret clearance, no job." "Why was my security clearance revoked? I didn't do anything wrong." "I'm afraid Homeland Security disagrees. An affair with an ISIS terrorist is enough for them." Jessica sat down abruptly on the couch. Denial was her first approach. "This is ridiculous. I haven't had an affair with anyone, much less a terrorist." "Stupid. We're talking about national security. They could find out how many sheets of toilet paper you use per wipe if they wanted to. They showed me pictures and videos. Your guy, Gregor, is not a Greek importer like he told you. He's a high-ranking ISIS operative. I can't believe how easily you gave in to temptation. I realize now how little our marriage and my love meant to you." "Ray, how can you say that? You know I love you and only you. Gregor is just a friend. This is all a big mistake. Show me the pictures." "They didn't give me a copy. This is part of the evidence they're collecting. You'll see them soon enough. By the way, a friend can't make love to my wife, especially when she lets him do it the way she won't let her husband." Her pretense of not having an affair was quickly dispelled. "I never let him do anything kinky with me." "Are you telling me you have pictures of us making love? I know that's not true." "I can't believe the government was spying on me. What I do in my personal life is my own business. What about my right to privacy? I think I'll sue." "Sue the government? Ha! You lying cheater, you should be grateful." "Grateful? Why should I be grateful? My future is ruined because of your stupid security clearance. You should be grateful that the FBI found out about it when they did. You thought you were going to the Bahamas with him when, They know about this?" "Yes. Gregor was planning to kidnap you if you didn't come forward. He was going to ransom you to get me to divulge some sensitive information. Whether I gave him the information or not, you were going to be sold as a white slave in the Middle East." Jessica thought for a few minutes. "You're lying. You found out about me and Gregor, and you're making up lies to keep me from going with him. Well, it's not gonna work. He's my soulmate. We were meant to be together. Your lie wasn't even that clever." "Well, I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm calling him right now." Ray walked over to her, knocked her cell phone out of her hands, and slapped her. Jessica cried. "You're not going to call him. The feds arrested him a few hours ago. I hope they get all the members of his cell. They'll come after you last. You'll be charged as a co-conspirator." "What? But I didn't know anything about this. I'm innocent." "Innocent? You're having an affair and you're planning to run off with all my money. Do you have any idea what your lover did with all the money you gave him access to?" "He only took my half. He had to open an account so we could live in Greece." "You're an idiot. He took all our money. It was used to buy C4 explosives and detonation devices. They have plans to blow up a children's hospital. Wouldn't that be a kick in the butt? Can you imagine the headlines? Cheating wife helps ISIL bomb babies. You'd be a household name. You'd go down in the history books as an even bigger traitor than Benedict Arnold. No one will ever name their girls Jessica again. Don't worry. You can still be famous. The feds are praying they manage to get to Gregor's men before they can detonate the explosives. If not, you'll be at least semi-famous. Or is that infamous? Jessica sobbed loudly. It's too horrible to imagine. What have I done? Ray, I don't know what to do. I've been so stupid. I can't believe I fell for his bullshit. Please, I don't want to go to jail. Can you help me? Why would I want to help you? I wouldn't want to help a wife who forgets to honor her vows to leave everyone else behind. I wouldn't want to help a wife who was foolish enough to believe that a rich importer would be attracted to a married secretary. However, I would want to help a cheating wife who had leprosy, venereal disease, and Ebola before I would want to help you. Does 11 happy years of marriage and a child mean nothing to you? Yeah. It means I've been fooled a lot longer than I thought. It means I have to become a single father with no job. It means I have to explain to my son why he won't see his mom again. It means he and I will have to endure years of suffering even though we did nothing wrong. I didn't mean to hurt you and Nathan. I know you would have felt bad at first. Oh God, I don't know what to do. Do you want me to take some of my things and leave? You don't have to worry about that. The feds will be here soon. You won't have to worry about food, clothing, shelter, toiletries, or entertainment for a long time. But I didn't know what Gregor was doing. Of course you see that. Of course the government will see that. You were willing to give up your current family to risk your entire future to be with a man you didn't know what he was doing. Maybe you'll escape harsh punishment as long as they believe you could be that stupid or that badly gripped by lust. If you're lucky, I would assume they would put you in a program that would hide your identity. In fact, I think my son and I would have to participate as well. The bad guys might want revenge on all of us. Oh my God! Do you really think our lives would be in danger? I can't believe this is happening. Of course we're in no danger. ISIL likes to be merciful to people who kill their jihad warriors. So, we're all going into hiding together? Not if I have anything to say about it. Ding dong! You might as well open the door, honey. You'll be arrested by Homeland Security. No. Please, Ray, help me. I'm sorry. I was duped. I never meant to hurt anyone. You had no problem leaving me and our son alone, hurting our feelings and taking our money. I see no reason not to return the favor. Open the door before it's broken down. Jessica stumbled toward the door, still crying. She opened the door and saw a man in a dark blue suit and hat. He said, "Jessica Sellers?" "Yes." "You have been served." He handed her an envelope with the divorce papers inside. Jessica looked at Ray with a big question mark on her face. Ray smiled. "You're an asshole. You really made up that story about Gregor. He's not a terrorist." "Well, I needed proof of your affair. I've been suspicious for some time. I knew something, but you filled in the details for me. Our entire conversation was recorded this evening. Gregor's not a terrorist, but he's a liar, a cheat, and an Alfonso. He's up to his eyeballs in debt and was planning to take our money and run. When you get to the airport for your trip to the Bahamas, you won't find him. He and our money would be out of the country. You would be standing at the airport feeling very, very stupid. How do you know that's what he was going to do? The police did arrest him this afternoon for theft, conspiracy, and, from my perspective, alienation of affection. The IRS will probably add 1 or 2 charges. He confessed without any pressure. He wasn't very kind in his description of you and your abilities. Looking for a way out, Jessica came up with, "Ray, honey, you saved me once. Do you have enough love left to give me a second chance? Do you think so? Do I have any options in a divorce? Not many. Leave now and I'll pay for a motel room for 2 weeks. In exchange for you not telling the world about your betrayal, I'll give you half my assets and your car. I'll get primary custody of our child with free visitation rights, especially given your willingness to abandon him. No child support, no child support. That's still cruel. I can't believe you. After what you did to your family? I should just, I can't tell you what I'd like to do. Just get out. I have to prepare myself to tell my son about his cheating mother. Years later. Ray and Nathan were really getting along well, just as Jessica had predicted. Along with his job, Ray had enough to do to be a good father to keep him busy. Nathan became active in sports, soccer in the fall, basketball in the winter, and baseball in the spring. Ray rarely missed a game, a PTA meeting, or participated in many fundraising events. In the social arena, Ray did make a couple friends who had perks that allowed him to trim his antlers. None of the friends came even close to what could be called a relationship with Ray. Soon Nathan would be driving and Ray would have less free time. He suggested that maybe then he could think about a serious relationship. One day the doorbell rang. He opened the door and saw Jessica, the old Jessica. It was obvious that she had reversed most of the surgeries she had undergone. She looked almost like the Jessica he had first fallen in love with. After waiting for him to speak, she melted the ice. To answer your unspoken question, everything except the breastwork. I just couldn't give them up. I spent almost all of my settlement money to cancel the surgeries because I wanted to show you that I could be the old Jessica again. The one you fell in love with and helped me become a decent wife and mother. I'd like us to start over at least as much as possible. The way I look now won't encourage men to hit on me, so that temptation is removed. I want my actions to prove to you that I will return to the Jessica who loves you more than anyone else. I can't prove that to you until you let me be there for you and Nathan. I'm not talking about marriage. Just to be a part of your and Nathan's life again. I know it will take a long time for you and Nathan to trust me again, but I promise you can. To prove my sincerity, I've spent every dime I have preparing to come here today. I have nowhere else to go. I am completely at your mercy, completely ready to prove my love for my family. She's down on her knees. Deep down, I believe that your heart is big enough to let me back in. I beg you for the sake of our family. I promise that I will do everything I can to make sure that you eventually look back on this time and feel grateful that you gave me a second chance. She looked at him hopefully with a tear-stained face. Ray took a deep breath and replied, I guess I'll have to remain ungrateful. He slammed the door in her face. Nathan, I think we just found the housekeeper we were looking for. No, I don't like it. What do you think? The end.